Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start tonight with a public hearing for the town of Chazy sewer code amendment. Local law number 1 for this year, I believe. Is that correct? Yes, it is. And at this time, we'll open up the floor to public comments. Anybody would like to address the board on the local law number 1? Please stand. Nobody wants to address the board? I guess we'll close the public hearing then. Call the meeting to order. Anybody would like to approve the minutes of the prior meeting?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the May 9th meeting as presented by the clerk.
I'll second.
Councilor Trombley made a motion that the minutes of the May 9th, 2011 regular town board meeting be approved as submitted by the town clerk, seconded by Councilor Lattimore.
It was actually Jerry, that second.
Jerry?
Yep.
First one I need from you. Split those two. Seconded by Councilor Dino. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, at this time, we'll open up the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, please stand, state your name and your address if possible.
My name is Shay Wisniewski. I live on Trombley Lane, 455. I would like to address the board in regards to the Chazy Recreational Park Playground area. I am willing to do the footwork, and I've got the backing of the Lions Club in order to give it a facelift, because it's a little outdated. I was coming here today to ask for your approval, and for maybe one of you guys to be on our committee to help sponsor this.
And what actually is the facelift going to consist of, so everybody would know?
The swing sets, the playground, or the merry-go-round, and the monkey bars are in great shape, but the one and only slide needs to be expanded upon. There's many nights that during soccer season and stuff that I sit there with my 2 young children, and there's a huge line of like 20 children waiting to slide down the one and only slide, and for the amount of activity that the recreational park gets, I just think it should be upgraded and expanded on, like a commercial grade metal and plastic slide area with several different slides, different tiers to range from ages 5 to 12.
And your committee is going to be doing fundraising activity to,
Yes.
and what's the fundraising activity going to consist of?
We're first asking local businesses for donations. One of the members of the Lions Club had said maybe they donate money and then having other businesses match it to try to earn that money, and we were going to go with that first to see how much money we raise then, and then we would open it up to either 50-50s, asking local businesses for any kind of gift certificate or things that we could raffle off and make the whole community itself kind of partake in the raising of the funds, not just one actual area.
Very good idea.
Who will be comprised of your committee? Who do you plan on asking to be on your committee?
Right now,
actually-
she has agreed to chair it. Alan Roberts is going to be the treasurer. Jim Lucas from the Chazy Lions Club has agreed to be a representative, and Jen Langois is from the school PTO. And she was wondering if one of the board members would like to jump on board to help out also.
Are you going to have your own checking account and so forth? How are you going to handle the money once you get it?
You want me to?
Yep.
I'm Ellen Roberts. Yes, I've already called TD Bank North, and I've talked to them, explained what we're doing, and they have told me I just need to come in, and I said I would like to have someone else and myself be on the checking account. She said that would be fine, that they have no problem with setting that up. And as long as we ran a balance, there wouldn't be any fee for it, and I said I would donate that money myself, so that we would have that already on hand. And that's where all the money would be deposited.
And you're gonna act as the treasurer?
I am.
Bill, how is this going to be, is, you're not really a nonprofit organization collecting money, donations
It's just an
to-
association, but it's not, they're not looking for anything from the board other than,
Support.
yeah, and eventually allowing this equipment to be accepted by the town as a gift.
So it's
to the
not a
playgrounds.
problem.
Not a problem for the town.
Okay.
I mean, this is something that we as the board considered doing, what was that, 2 years ago, but because of the cost, the town really didn't have the extra money to fund it with running on such a tight budget, so.
And when you purchase the equipment, you'll make sure that it's New York State
Commercial
approved, because
grade.
there's certain types of equipment that you can.
Just if you don't mind, one of the things that Shay has already done is she's taken pictures of some of the other neighboring towns,
I
setups that
have
they
those
have.
if you'd like to see.
And one of the things the committee's first gonna do is look at all those and contact those towns to see how they went about identifying, you know, the structures that they put in, so that it would be on comparable and already knowing that it's been accepted by communities as safe. you know.
I'm just concerned about the state,
Mhm.
state-approved equipment.
One of the main areas that we looked at was Schuyler Falls. Schuyler Falls Recreational Park, which I have a photo if you'd like to look at it. That's all encased in a fencing, and it's commercial grade. It's made up of the metal and the plastic. It's a very large structure, larger than what I think we could raise money for here. Because looking at the costs, it looks like that one will probably be about $20,000 to $30,000, just from my personal research. But I'm not sure, some people had mentioned on the Lions Club that they had, I think actually Staub had suggested it, the surplus ones, the state surplus list.
I checked with them and they have nothing at this time.
Okay.
I did contact them with the contact names, and he said that he would keep his eyes open for us, but no playground equipment at this time.
Is that a requirement that the state sign off on it?
Well, I think,
What you're looking for is just that it be of a certain specification, so.
So
you
if
know,
we
for safety
identify
reasons.
something another community has been able to put into their rec park,
She,
and it depends on how long ago they put it in.
right?
yeah, and you,
Well, they come out with treated lumber, right? Was one of the,
one of the restrictions.
It's restrictions, right?
You couldn't have that because of certain, you know.
I don't
laws
think that was a choice that,
No, that, we were staying.
that it wasn't even an option,
I mean, you're looking to
Yeah.
buy this though, and then
Yes.
donate it to the town.
yes,
Yeah.
As well as the labor to install it, I would assume.
yes.
And what you're really looking for now is just a liaison, maybe potentially from the board, one board member that could
Correct,
come back and as you're going about this process, keep the board informed of where you're at with it.
Yes.
So that ultimately, when you're ready to make a purchase and ultimately ready to donate the equipment, that they know what you've gone through.
they're
and
comfortable
then-
with, yeah.
I just want to mention
And you
to
can
you
always
that,
reject it at that point if you're not
I
satisfied.
went by Katyville School the other day, and it's been closed. And they have a really nice playground out in the side, so I called Mark Berry's firm, who is in charge of selling in the facility, and asked him if he would sell the playground equipment. And apparently there's a potential buyer that's gotta make up his mind within 3 months. So we contacted him, and he said that if he did buy the facility, that he was gonna give Ross's Point the first option on the playground equipment. But if Ross's Point didn't want it, that he would give us a call. So you might wanna call CDC Development, it's called, and speak to Matt Moyer. They're in Ross's Point, just to let them know, that, while you're getting funds or whatever, you might be still interested in that playground. It's a very nice playground. I mean, you have to go look at it, and I'm sure it meets all the requirements, but it's
Sure.
just sitting there doing nothing, and it's too bad. But
What about northeastern Clinton at Champlain Elementary? Is
That
that
was
all
sold.
gone? I know it was sold in private hands, but
Yeah,
is
it went,
is their equipment gone from there?
whatever was there went in.
I think too, the fundraising was somewhat predicated on what was identified as the desirable item. And then they would know, the committee would know better what we have to have. But the first option was to do what the Lions Club suggested, was matching funds with the businesses in the area to get a startup fund.
Now, how long is this fundraiser going to last, do you know, or you've got a?
We're not looking at possibly doing any, we're looking at starting the funds, but we're not trying to rush it. So over the course of like the next 2 years, we were gonna try to.
Do you have a ballpark amount right now that you're looking at?
The most
raising, or-
expensive set that I myself have looked at, but until we get the committee to vote on it, was about 12,000. And that had multiple different slides, multiple different towers so that the kids could go on it, and it was commercial grade, and it was for ages 5 to 12 years old.
And we applied for a grant once
There
for the
was,
Thousand Island, and they told us to keep reapplying.
I checked with Adele a couple years ago about the playground equipment funds, and there was, at that time, there was no grants available. But personally, I think that if she
Now, do you
wants
have
to.
other fundraising planned for like, say, Old Home Days or something like that, if you get our blessing?
If we do, then we were
Tonight.
going to try to set up a booth, and that was one of the things, going to Walmart or Sam's and asking for donations for like hot dogs and rolls, and then selling those for a small fee, basically, and then also asking for an additional donation.
So if you decided by then which equipment you wanted, you have an enlarged photo of it and
Yes,
something like that is what your plan is for?
yeah. Old Homes Day is what, July, the end of July, right?
31st.
July 31st.
But that, we needed to wait until we got your blessing
Right.
here, and we'd like for a representative from here before we can get the first meeting going, so that everybody can kind of sit down and designate what place that we kind of want, what we want to look for.
Well, my concern when Staub talked to me about it was about the money. I mean, if we're putting our name behind it, you know, and giving the support, you know, if there's 10 people out collecting, where's the money going?
Right.
But it sounds like you kind of covered that, you know, if people are assuming that we are supporting it as a town, you know, the money has to be going, you know, there has to be a formal committee, in my opinion, for us to be able to support it, and, you know, the money has to be accounted for at regular meetings, and, you know, a treasurer's report that we can look at, or, I mean, I don't think we wanna take control of it, but I think if we are putting our support behind it, and people think that they're doing it on behalf of the town, then I think that we kind of need to be kept in that loop. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I think that was my concern until.
I think the more accountability of funds, the better.
Right, and that was my concern, was that if people, you know, are donating, you know, is there a paper trail of it?
And we've already discussed that there'll have to be receipts for the people
Right.
donating the money.
Who
Everything
did
will
they
have to
make
be
the checks
accountable
out
for.
to? Who
Pardon?
the checks being made out to?
Well, I think once we establish the account, it'll be made out to that account. And I'm gonna ask that it be put the Town of Chazy Recreation Park Fund. If that's something that we can do, can we do that or
I
not?
don't think that's good.
Okay,
That sounds like something the state comptroller would want to know.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I thought you were more of an independent association, that you're going to form your own entity.
Then we
See,
can
that's
do
what
that.
I'm concerned about.
Yeah, maybe just leave out the word town, you could just put
Chazy
Chazy.
Recreation
But even
Park.
at that,
Yeah.
you really need to be an entity before you can
Sure.
start raising money,
Right.
and after you get over $10,000, isn't it, you're really pushing it.
Mhm. You need to look into what type of entity. I thought you were doing it under the Lions Club, but
Well, that's what isn't that what you're hoping
Mine's
for?
club.
We would like to hope, but I don't think they want to hold the money. Do
I
you-
think we just want to help support the
What
project.
about the PTO? Would they be co-sponsors of it, and hold the funds for you? Because, I mean, they're set up, they're,
Okay.
you know,
That
I
might be
mean,
a good
that's,
option.
But they may be in the same situation as we are,
well,
with the comptroller or something.
Yes.
I would think.
True.
I mean, I thought you were just looking for the town board to say, yes, we'd be willing or, you know, interested in accepting that playground equipment and installation at the park if it was offered.
I think that's
But
really
that's-
what you're asking
That-
for,
that
right?
is
I think
what
the
we're
money just
asking.
becomes an issue if you get to a certain point.
Yeah, but that's their concern and their organization.
Right.
From your point of view, you're
From
only
our
saying,
point of view, right,
and yes, and you're basically responding by saying, yes, as long as it meets, you know, whatever state regulations there may be for, right,
Mhm.
commercial grade and of a certain quality and whatnot, and yeah, we'd be willing to accept it.
right. Does that answer your questions, or?
I'm going to make sure that I do a little more research on that whole issue.
Right,
Yeah, because I think otherwise.
I'm very concerned, I want total accountability, obviously,
right,
for the money.
exactly, and that was my concern, and it
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
like, you know, if we're on the same page with that, then I have no problem
Yeah.
with it, but.
And that was one of the things when Shay asked me to do it, I
Somebody
said
from
we
the
have to
board
be
like
very.
to help these people, or?
But would they have to be set up as a nonprofit organization and get a tax ID
Yeah, they
and?
need to get their own
You need
advice
a
on that,
tax
sure.
ID number, yeah. And they're not hard to get, it's very easy to get one. But, it's a process you have to go through.
That's fine.
Because I don't know if the PTO would do it, because I mean, you're raising money for the town, not, for them.
It probably would be better for everybody if it was separate anyway.
Yeah.
Probably would be,
Mhm.
I agree.
Because in case it took longer than we thought,
Mhm.
you know, then at least that would be accountable that way too, and it wouldn't be tying up anything else.
Well, and that money, I mean, if it was in one of their accounts, would have to roll over at the end of the year into their record somewhere.
Right. Hmm. It's a good idea,
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
wonderful.
Overall, do we,
No, I'm
we
trying
want to
to,
give our blessings
I'm-
to move forward with this? I mean, I think it's a great idea, and you got somebody that wants to chair it and take control of it, and it's definitely something that's gonna improve our rec park, that's for sure, so.
Absolutely,
no, I agree on
we
that.
appreciate that.
We need to take a resolution.
No, I don't think so,
No.
not at this point, it's just, it's too
I'm trying to,
informal at this point, you're not
Okay.
accepting anything at all other than,
When they
Generally.
present something, then you want to do
Yeah.
resolutions.
yeah, but you still gotta come up with a board member. And I'm trying to figure out that my time, I'm on 2 committees already. How much time we got left on the,
How often do you think you'll be meeting? Do you have any idea?
We're estimating probably once a month, 30 to 45 minutes, for right now until we start actively, pursuing, really big fundraisers, like if we had a booth to donate time. But then we can also ask other people as well to help donate time, if they're willing to donate time to help do that. I did ask some of the Chazy Girl Scouts when they, like in the fall, they're always looking for community events, if they could help, even sell tickets or stuff like that, or hand things out, or
I can try to help.
to be on the committee.
I'll
Okay.
make an honest attempt, yeah.
One of the things that Jim Lucas had suggested was doing a lot through email. That way we can all stay in contact. That way it would be easier for all of us as well.
You know, Chris,
Is it-
Chris Latchmore.
Yes.
okay, and Chris,
Yes, Buck,
if you're unable to make a meeting, call me.
okay.
Because, you know, these other 2, we should be winding down pretty soon.
Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to address the board? No reports from the county?
The only report I have from the county, sales tax is still coming in good, and we're very pleased about that. And other than that, everything is running along.
What about the flooding and the
FEMA.
FEMA and?
Well,
Any-
FEMA,
any
as you read in the paper, was just approved by the, and it looks like the municipalities will, receive some funding. We don't know to what extent yet. It's just, the approval was just made a few days ago in the paper. And that's basically where that says, because the lake level still isn't back to normal. But, that's progressing well, so all we can do is hope.
Anybody else? No? Okay, we'll close the public comment session then. I think I'll go first tonight. I've got just a few items and then we'll go around the table. Last meeting, we did a resolution for heating contract, and there was a question of what was included in the contract and if we could check with a couple different carriers. I did check with 2 other possibilities for cleaning. I don't know if I'll name names, but the first one will not even do cleaning unless they deliver oil to you. Okay? So that one's kind of off the table. The second one, again, they would like to have you deliver oil to you, but they would do it for $80 per hour. Parts are not included. So any parts that go would be extra. The one we currently have is home heating and air conditioning, and it's our normal. It is $369 a year, and it says on the back, which I didn't look at the last time, but it says that the following comprehensive list of parts will be repaired or replaced free of additional charge as necessary due to normal use, and I called John Havlicek and verified, and they've got probably 25 items on here that if they go because of normal use are gonna be free of charge, he said. So I think that kind of was the best deal.
Well, at least now we know.
Sounds
We know not to
Yeah,
cost
you
us,
know.
so.
So we do have a resolution to accept his contract tonight. I talked with Dick Comey about the AT&T report, and Dick says he has heard absolutely nothing from AT&T, which is not unusual. It's in their court. He says they have to come back with all the questions that we wanted answered, and until then, he has heard nothing, and as soon as he hears something, he will, he's pretty sure that they'll get a copy and we'll get a copy, so he's just waiting to hear from them. He says it's not unusual for it to take up this much time, so he's not really concerned at this point. I got in contact with Time Warner to find out what they were doing with the contract. The only thing that they're gonna be doing for us is the town hall, which is, I think, gonna be done Friday. The other projects, the O'Neill Road apparently was something they were looking at, but Charter Communications already has a line there, and they don't usually go in on other people's territories, so, he said people can get cable access through Charter, so they don't go in competition with them. Basically what he said, but that the town office here was the only thing that they were gonna be doing right away. And he thought it was done, and he said, I can't believe it's not done. So within a couple days, we had somebody call saying, we'll be there Friday.
How about the school?
What about school?
School, they're not doing it this time. They haven't agreed to do it.
But it's still,
It was supposed to.
Well, I know, but I mentioned that, I said, well, you know, you kinda mentioned that the school was supposed to be one of the
Part of it,
projects from years
yeah.
ago, and he said, well, let me check on it, and he came back and said, the only ones that we really looked at were the town hall and the O'Neill Road. Everything else,
the only ones they looked at this time.
so.
Wasn't that the stipulation on
No,
us
we-
signing the contract?
I thought it was.
Yeah, I gave,
No, we
Yeah,
haven't
I
even
thought it was
signed a
too.
contract with them in like 2 years.
That was,
No, but I
that was
gave
part
you
of
an
what you were
original
trying to get
copy.
out of the renewal of the
Right.
franchise. That's the time to renegotiate something.
But I thought originally that was supposed to be part of it, that they were
I don't
supposed to
think-
provide it to the school.
yeah, I gave that material
No.
to
No,
Sven.
I didn't sign anything. I think I gave it to you, and we said, look, we wanted some
That's when I gave you
stipulations.
the list of, yeah, things to
Right.
ask for, which you presented to them, and
Right.
apparently the only one they were willing to do. So you come back to them and say, no, we still need the school. I
No,
thought they were doing something with the school too.
no, but originally it was in there.
The school
For
was
the
You mean the first one?
The very
Yeah.
first one,
Oh,
yes.
well, all the more reason to follow up on
The,
that.
the one I gave you stuff.
How about at the town garage? Is Time Warner, do you have cable down at the town garage?
Yep.
Are we paying a fee for it at the town garage? No.
No, so they must have hooked you up.
Yeah.
Because that was,
You got the highway department instead of the school.
Why didn't they
They-
do
they-
it at the town garage?
they mentioned the town hall,
Is
the
something
fire
like that?
department, the town garage, and the school. It was all mentioned in that.
But,
So they don't go into the school at all right now?
No?
not that I'm aware of.
Now, I know they put the cable in, because I remember Hal Goodrow was there for a long time, putting in the cable wire, but I know it's never been hooked up,
It's never been hooked up,
as far as I know.
that right, Kev?
No, they don't have cable on.
Yeah, but was the wiring installed?
I'm not sure if the wire was installed, all I know is that we never had it.
It was, Chris?
It was, I know that for a fact, because they were over there when they were doing the renovation project about 4 years ago.
Well, it shouldn't be too much of a project.
I wouldn't think so.
You know, get in touch with them one more time and saying, well, we're happy the town hall's not, is being done, but we're really not happy with the school not being done, and,
Especially
Now
if
it's
it was
Oh,
part of
if
the
they,
because we really haven't signed anything with them.
is there, do we know when the last contract was signed, that we can pull out, or when the original one was signed, or?
2009.
The last contract was signed in 98, April of 98,
When they
and it
first,
expired in 99,
2009.
I mean.
Yeah,
So what
It's a
happens in a
10-year
situation like that? when
So do we have
they
a
can
copy
change-
of
you
that
can
first
change your old
contract?
agreement? You do.
Well, that's
The
not, that wasn't the
stipulations
first
in it?
contract, the first contract was way years ago.
Or do we have that last one, that we could look at the stipulations in
I
it?
think I gave it to you possibly.
I haven't looked at it.
Because I think Time Warner came to Chazy in 1985, if I'm not mistaken, that's.
It was here before,
yeah,
right?
that would be about right.
No, but I gave Stubb a copy of what I got on the original meeting.
Remember what year that was, Bucket, or?
No, I don't.
1994.
October 1994,
That's when they came?
because I moved to Chazy in October of
Now we had,
94.
well, then I had time
Yeah,
to look at
Yeah.
that.
We got it, and it was around 85,
Yeah,
that,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Time Warner cable came to Chazy.
yeah.
84,
Sure,
85.
the
Yeah, it was
date,
84,
was the
but-
date on that thing I
I
gave you?
have
I
it
don't
on
know,
TV,
I haven't looked at it in a long time.
automatically hooked up to the-
84 you said, or 94?
84.
Okay, I thought you said 94, and that's when I.
Oh, yeah, I
that's
thought that's what you said,
84.
yeah.
Yeah, I might have said it.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, 84, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I
It's
said
on the top.
84.
Yeah, 84 is
Yeah.
about,
Yeah, I would go with that, yeah, 84.
before the 16, 11.
Well, let's check it out a little bit further and I'll find out, I'll get with Bill and see how we wanna send him a letter and tell him we're not happy about the school not being done and
Mhm.
see what they come up with.
Mhm.
At this day and age,
Yeah, I mean, that one seems very doable to me, I mean,
Yeah,
we got cable everywhere,
Mhm.
more cable everywhere through town, I mean, to hook up the school was
exactly.
easy,
especially if the wire's there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Is it possible the school didn't wanna,
no, I talked to the school and they were thrilled that we were asking them to do that, so. We have a legal question for you, Bill. Kind of a situation that we're in right now, and we just wanted to ask you tonight. We have a resident that has tenants that have not paid rent for a couple months. So she came in the other day and she asked us to turn the water off at this residence. And they have
I
a
don't
child.
think, if you know it's occupied, I don't think you can.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
it'd be
this is
improper
what
for
we
her
wanted
to
to
do
find
it.
out, because she said, well, I own the building,
Yep.
and I'm asking you to turn it off. And we said, well, with there being a child there, we were concerned that, you know, for healthy
Yeah.
standards or health standards, so I called the health department today, and they gave me their legal office. And I left them a message, I don't know if she ever called back, but, we don't know, should we
It's
not turn it
improper
off?
for the landlord to turn it off under the real
They can't, she
property.
can't turn it off.
I know she can't, so to ask the town to do it and we become her agent, I wouldn't do it, but I can check and get back to you on it for sure.
Okay, because we just don't want to do anything until we know that we're protected and not gonna get into,
No, that's her collection issue, I mean, and to the extent the water bill doesn't get paid, we can add it to the taxes.
right, but
But
then
that
she
doesn't
ends up
give her
paying,
the right
it. that's
to
what her
necessarily
concern is.
discontinue it. Yeah, I understand that, but.
Yeah, I would hate as a town to get involved with something
Yeah.
like that. That's her problem.
I think she'd have to go to small claims court, and
Yeah.
court rule against.
You got elderly people there too.
I don't know the ages, but I know there's a child there, so that's our biggest concern was children. Okay, moving on, I got a response from Mark Rogers finally from, what I asked him was, you know, what he thought about pursuing the Ingraham Road and how much he thought it would cost. and he said, essentially, if the county did not follow proper procedure in taking possession of the road or any part of it, the town should be able to assert its rights in court through a process known as action to quiet title. The action would be heard in Supreme Court. I would charge a slightly reduced rate of $165 per hour to the town for the lawsuit. Plus, you would have to cover court costs and possibly expert fees such as surveyors or the like. It's probable that the action would cost from $7,500 to $10,000 depending on the strength of the county's defense, much less if an argument can be reached early on. So our question is, do we want to continue? Do we want to spend that money? Do we want to, there's a lot of questions that, you know, if they give it to us, we're going to have to pay it, which is $40,000 or $50,000. You know,
The problem, well, you know, I have a conflict here, but I do have to just, the problem is the county is saying they don't own it at this point. So is your litigation to go in and say that action to quiet title is that they own it and we don't? Because apparently the research you've had so far is that the town owns it and always has. The county asserted some ownership over it and claimed, or thought it owned it, but then it was discovered that it never did, or at least that's what the title work is showing. Dick has always contended that there's another 300 feet at the end,
In the Stratton Hill Road.
at the Stratton Hill Road, that, you know, well, if we're gonna take it, we want it all.
That's right.
And, you know, trying to short circuit some of the costs of the town and everything, I asked the highway superintendent about that. He says, fine, if you want the whole thing, take the whole thing. I mean, if the town wants it, take it. That'll be 300 feet less that I have to worry about to plow. I mean, it just doesn't matter to them. And it'll be 300 less feet, it's not a big deal one way or the other, but it chips money, you know, but it just doesn't, it's not worth fighting over, is what he said. If you want the whole thing, take the whole thing, it doesn't really matter. So
now what would happen is if we didn't want it? What if we said we don't want that portion of the road? I mean, and
well, but I guess when the question you're putting to Mark Rogers, it's an Article 15 under Real Property Actions and Proceedings Law. It's an action to quiet title. And normally you're bringing that because you own it, or you think you own it, and you're trying to settle somebody else's claim against your claim. So you're quieting title. This is gonna be a little reverse. I mean, does Mark understand you're trying to go in to say we don't own it?
well,
Didn't they have it?
it looks like in 1953 that they supposedly, when they reconstructed Route 9, they had given it to the town of Chazy, so we really owned it the whole time.
That's what I mean.
So why did the county step in?
The county never
And take
knew
it.
that bucket. They.
Well, they had the paperwork on it at one time and they destroyed it.
Well, I don't know if they destroyed it, maybe some highways.
Well, they threw it out.
Somebody, but at some point, because even the other end, and then when he was trying to figure out roads, this wasn't something just picking on this particular road. What they did is, and they do this periodically, they went through the entire county and said which roads don't make sense to be part of the, lights are going out. The, which parts of, which roads in the county that are currently maintained or, you know, are owned by the county do not make sense to be part of the county highways or road system any longer. And so there were, and usually it's roads like this, the little connector road that didn't make any sense to anything, as far as part of the county highway system. So they go through and they propose different roads to be transferred to each community. There were I think a total of 9 different communities or townships, and town of Champlain, Blackbrook, they're all over. Town of Plattsburgh even had some. And I think 7 townships all accepted the roads that were being proposed. The only ones up in the air were Chazy, and I think it's Osceola or Blackbrook, you might know too. No. Anyway, there's some roads down there. In this whole process, it was then discovered that, you know, according to title work, the county never owned the Ingraham Road. It was always owned by the townships.
Did they have the proper paperwork for these other towns?
They had paperwork that they were county roads, sure.
Why did they continue to
So
pay
why
us for
didn't
plowing
they-
it then?
because they thought they owned it.
Uh,
I mean, whatever had happened, you know, when that road, Route 9, was realigned by the state, they, you know, transferred those roads, or the portion that was no longer needed for the state route, to the municipalities. I guess, I mean, it was somehow, at some point, 1954 on, or at some point between 54 and present, you know, the county thought that they owned it. I think they did so with the other section, I'm not sure, of, you know, that was given to Beacontown, actually titled and given to Beacontown. Because a portion, it looks like the state, when it reconfigured Route 9, part of it was given to Beacontown, part of it was given to the town of Chazy. But, you know, when
So
Mr.
that
Lewis
was
was
Grand
sitting here, he was always saying, I mean, basically, well, that's fine, we'll take Ingraham, but then we want the rest of the Stratton Hill Road. And when I asked Al about that, I said, Al, if that is a big deal, because, you know, apparently the title is they own that portion of Stratton Hill Road as well as Ingraham. Sure, they can have that too, I mean, that's what the title shows.
No, didn't they
He
extend this?
didn't think financially made any sense for you, but he said, that's fine, you know, if that settles it, fine, they can have it all.
Yeah, but didn't they extend the Stratton Hill Road, come down Stratton Hill and then turn right and go straight out to Route 9? Isn't that considered Stratton Hill Road?
Beatmantown has the, past Sanger Lane, that's Beatmantown after that.
There's a municipal boundary
Yeah.
there somewhere. Right.
Yeah,
Right
but
at Singer Lane.
all of Chazy is Stratton Hill.
No,
Now,
the
after-
first part of Stratton Hill, when you get off Route 9, is Beatontown.
Right.
Right,
That's where the title
Till
problem is.
Singer Lane, from Singer Lane on to Chazy.
up into,
And that's our town line.
Ingraham Road, and then,
That's
Till
our
Ingraham,
town
because
and then
that's
it
where
turns
the
into
title.
county again.
If we take it and have to repave it, how much is it gonna cost us?
50,000.
We'd have to figure it out, go through a bigger, measure it.
But that's not the biggest concern.
Yeah, but there's
The biggest
nothing
thing-
saying you have to repave the whole thing.
Right, I'm just saying,
Just
if
put it
we
in the last
made an
house.
offer to the county to split the difference and save us both the legal bills.
Yeah.
You know, of repaving it so that it's a passable road, rather than dragging this out, and we've been doing this for 2 years.
But
At
that's,
some point, we have to put this to rest and move on.
True.
the paving isn't
You know,
the biggest
it's-
problem of it though, Jerry. When Staub and I met with, Chris Passano, and even Dicky, the concern that is the biggest problem is where the Ingraham Road comes out onto Route 9,
Right,
where that could present a problem, where that intersection would have to be completely redesigned as far as because of,
Dangerous, trying to pull out of it.
correct.
but I mean, it's an existing intersection
It's
now.
been there for how long?
Doesn't matter, they can still, how does that work, Tim? Because that's what Chris was telling us, that would be the only.
The only what?
But it's.
If we own it now, it's not-
It's not right straight onto
No,
Route
it's
9.
I mean, if we own it now,
It squares off with Route 9.
it's not going to,
I don't think it would be.
the road
That's,
configuration
that's,
isn't
I
gonna.
mean, it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
There's not a
There's
necessary, I
still
can't
a
see where it'd be
change.
necessary to redo that intersection.
I just think that we need to come to
School
some
bus
kind
still
of.
uses it?
Yes.
No, it can't be that bad, then, if the school bus is still using the intersection.
I think they turn right off from, Route 9.
They
and go
turn
down.
right, okay,
I don't think they turn left off from
okay, okay.
What happened to the part, where somebody
Thing is,
said,
with the part that's on the Stratton Hill Road that we own up
Yeah.
to Sanger Lane, right now the county is, if something goes wrong with it, they're willing to maintain it. If we take it and say we want the whole
Then
thing,
you have to do
then
it.
that little section, we're gonna have to, if something goes wrong with it, we're gonna have to maintain it.
And the rest of it's a county road. The Beatontown portion is a county road.
Which the county, I think, pays the town to plow anyway, right?
Right.
So what it would be is the 300 feet, you get 300 feet less of plowing because
Right.
they're now paying you for all of Stratton Hill. Instead, if you wanna take it, which is fine from the county's point of view, then you'll get paid 300 feet less of road, I guess, is what it comes down to.
Right, but then the other problem that was brought up is if all of a sudden the town decides that it wasn't gonna plow the roads for the county, that would be the only road, they'd have to drive all the way down the state road and get the Ingraham Road, and the rest are all county roads surrounding it, so they would be going out of your way to plow that road,
Who would?
the town.
No, because you got
Well, I thought that's what Dicky was saying.
West Church Street, you do all that, that's county road.
Right, but he's saying if he didn't take the county contract for
That's
plowing.
what I'm saying, that's county road, we plow it, Church Street, all the way up through Barnaby.
Right, but he's saying if you decided not to, that section of Ingraham Road would be the only reason to go down there to do that one little strip of road.
We do
Because
Sanger
it's-
Lane too, right? They still have to go all the way up through Stratton
Beekman
Hill,
Town
all the way
does-
up through.
who
right
does
for
Sanger
Route
Lane?
22.
Do you guys do Sanger Lane or does Beekman Town?
We do. They would do that road all the way down to.
They're going down there
Yeah,
anyway
they
for
would,
Sanger
yeah.
Lane. He made it sound like I thought that,
That
We
was
have
the only
Rattle
strip that
Road,
we
we
had.
have Rattle Road that we have to do.
right,
I mean,
Up to Bags.
up to Bags, I mean, how
Yeah.
much further down, you know? so-
right.
Right.
So,
I like Jerry's idea to see if we can
Yeah, I think
get a
that's,
deal with the county to maybe, or with.
Do we want that 300 feet to Singer Lane? And that's our town line, or do we not want it?
I question why we would want to take on more road.
yeah,
So we want to keep,
I mean, we're gonna gain a section in the middle of their road of 300 feet.
Yeah, but
It
does that make
doesn't,
sense?
it
don't make
doesn't,
sense.
it doesn't make sense.
doesn't make any sense.
So do we want to ask them if they would like to split the cost of paving with us?
It's not gonna hurt, let's
Well, I
ask.
mean, we would have to see how much it's gonna cost. I mean, we probably can't afford it this year in our budget already, but I mean, if we can get something at least in the works for next year that they will agree to put this to rest finally, what is your opinion, Jim?
I think that's,
Have you
Being
been kept
fair.
up to date on what's going on with
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea to see if they go halves with us.
They might not.
Because
but-
basically, the ball's.
But I mean, it's gonna
not
cost both
Well,
of us
listen.
legal fees if we go to court.
somewhere along the line, like Jerry says, we gotta put it to rest.
Yes.
And I think the ball's basically in our court to prove it now, to prove otherwise that it's not.
They're saying it's ours already.
They're saying, yeah.
That's what I
Now
mean,
we
I mean,
have to
there's
come back
not.
and prove it.
No,
That's-
they
The
say-
action to quiet
thousands
title
of
is an
people.
action to quiet title that somebody else owns this, I think.
No, but they say it's ours, they don't have the paperwork.
Well, it is,
What are you gonna do with the rest of the road?
the paperwork is that it's the town of Chazy. I've not looked at it, but that's what I'm being told. The records
Well, you're being
are.
told that.
No, well.
We were given that deeded,
Yeah, but my
Document.
paperwork that I have at the garage states that they wanted to give it to us, but we refused it.
When was
Yeah,
that?
that was a couple of years ago when this first started.
Right.
That's what happened when they thought they owned it. And when they researched it, come to find out, the records in the county clerk's office show the state of New York did not give a deed to that road to the county back in 1954, or whenever it was reconfigured, realigned. They gave it to the town of Chazy, and that's why that stopped, that process.
But I mean, still, over all those years, they were paying us to maintain it, and they weren't maintaining it the way they maintain all their other roads. So now they're dumping it off on us, when they just realized 2 years ago that it was theirs, so they're basically putting the shaft to us by not at least helping us to get it up to a standard, is my opinion. I mean, they thought it was theirs all those years, they were paying us to plow it. They could have maintained it like they maintain the rest of their roads.
Yeah, once you settle this, they might ask you for that money back.
Yeah, right.
Right, Pat?
let me send them a letter and see what I can negotiate with them. Or call them and try to meet with them and see what we can throw in front of them, and see what they come back with for a reply. Okay, let's go down the line, that's all I've got for myself. Bucket, what do you got?
Okay, you covered quite a bit. JCO, how we go?
They are interviewing local people now, we understand. I haven't been advised of who the new person's gonna be, but they did call me the other day and tell us they were interviewing some local residents, so.
I got called for reference on
Did you?
one.
Okay, good.
Okay, and at the last meeting, I think Jerry brought up something about hockey money.
We're gonna do that at the budget time.
Okay. Bill, sir? Nothing?
What is it?
The medicine plan?
Pfizer?
Pfizer?
No, attended a meeting, probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and they're still trying to market it. There's no active leads
I
yet.
see they had an article in the paper yesterday. They're not poor, are they?
But nothing too exciting yet on any possible candidates, nothing.
Okay. Sewer plant, you were gonna get an upgraded, plan?
Yep, still waiting for it. We talked to Mr. Mosier, who's the engineer, and he wanted a couple things beefed up on it, so Timmy Ryan took it back again, and he's got like 3 projects going, but he should be done it very soon. They just wanted a few things adjusted to beef it up, and
Okay.
should have it.
On that motor, we had to buy,
Yep, for brothers.
have you got it?
It's installed.
Is the old one,
We're gonna try to repair it.
you're gonna try to
Use
repair
as
it
a
and use it as a backup?
We'll send it to Karen's.
You did, okay, good. That's it?
Backstop is all up,
Yes,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
paid for half,
yes, and the fire department agreed to pay for half, it's up. We'd like to thank the fire department. West
absolutely.
Chazy Fire Department looks really
It
nice.
does, looks
I'd
very
like to
nice.
thank all the volunteers that Tom Tatro got together to install that. The fire department took down their old one, and Tom got a bunch of volunteers and put the cement in and everything, it looks really nice.
Yeah,
So I just
wonderful.
wanna show everybody.
And we don't
Neat.
pay $12.50? We're on $12.50?
Now, do you have I just need the amount to give to them
For the fire
for
department,
the final bill for their portion or whatever, when you get it. I don't know if you already have it.
it's all for free.
Okay, and at the last meeting, we were talking about sending a letter to the library about their water and sewer bill. Did we follow up on that? We rescinded the resolution?
I did send one to the Presbyterian Church telling them that we couldn't do it, but I have not sent one to the library. I don't believe I did. I didn't.
Because we were gonna give them,
Or were we going to?
weren't we going to give them so many days
Yeah, I thought we were going to
notice that we
rescind
rescinded it?
the resolution.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll
Like tell them,
pull that
yeah.
copy of our,
We have,
yeah, we'll have to send a letter.
Yeah, I thought it was
I
like June
think you said you were gonna go
Yeah.
to the next billing.
Right.
So we'll send it out.
Okay,
when,
I think that's what we agreed on.
okay, I had June
But I
first
did
in my
contact
notes.
Presbyterian Church and tell them that we weren't gonna be able to do it.
Okay. And the people up near the Sacred Heart Church, they're all on now, water and the sewer, and
Yep.
we're all set with
the
them?
new little building?
No, she's
No,
talking about,
the house that was
Where,
there.
where's the,
the wares,
The wares.
yes, they're all hooked up.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Okay, and no problems with water and sewer, right? Like there on Church Street, Hall Street, in that area?
Nothing,
No more issues?
no, nope.
Okay,
We
great.
haven't had a call in a long, long time.
Wonderful.
it's good.
So keep flushing regularly and I think that
And that's what.
Solving
we
the
found the
problem.
problem.
Okay, thank you.
Terry?
It's, I think she covered everything. The only, how is, Facebook, you
Good.
started that?
Yeah, we
You
get a
got many
report every
people
week. It
Responding,
Kind of tells
or-
how many people are looking at the site, and
Yeah.
we put on Dick's, retirement party today. I put a picture of the backstop up there so people can
Right.
see it, and,
So people are using it? or-
yeah, we've got some comments, actually, I have thanked on Facebook, the West Chazy Fire Department for all the help in helping us put this up, and I think some members of the Chazy Fire Department also helped, because they blurbed in saying, and we helped too, or something like that, so
Oh,
they're seeing it,
Right.
people are
Good.
giving us some
Okay.
great,
reaction, so it's good.
wonderful. So should we kind of give a thank you to all who helped?
Yep, I can do that, that's
I've
easy
seen
enough.
if we have people from the Chazy Fire Department that are, we don't want to leave them out, anybody out.
Yeah, while you're doing thank yous, I forgot, I had a side note here. Sue, I see her out working in a flower bed one weekend.
I did.
Looks good,
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah.
you did a good job.
Business is blooming.
That's everything I had covered.
Chris?
Couple things, the salt storage facility, Tim's gonna be on that, is that gonna be something that's gonna be starting sooner or later? or
Yep,
where-
no,
where
actually,
is that?
they're bringing all the plans, there's gonna be a big meeting on Monday night for the planning board, I think it's the 20th. I don't have my phone on, but
Yeah, 20th is Monday.
20th here, for, our engineer's gonna, give all the plans and everything to the, planning board, and it's for the seeker. It's where they talk about if there's any kind of an environmental impact on the property, et cetera. One thing that I gotta give you tonight, Bill, is that, it's a copy of the survey, that they had done, and actually, part of our highway garage is on minor land still. So we may need to get an easement from them. It's really strange.
How big
I'll
is
show you
it?
this.
How could that happen?
Yeah, how did
When they
that
did the
happen?
survey, part of our building is like right in the middle of the line, so we need a few more feet, so we need to write to them and ask them for an easement, and I'm not sure how that'll, I'll give you this stuff. This
Yeah,
came from
rather
our
than an
engineers.
easement, we should ask for an actual quitclaim deed for the, the additional 10 feet.
Don't forget your
15
extra 10 feet.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
Yeah.
15 feet or whatever it takes
There you
to
go.
cover a building plus
Plus the order.
Yeah.
About 50.
50.
Woodsheds on their land.
Well,
Oh
they're only
my
gonna
gosh.
sell their property.
Septic systems on their land. The back of the
Yeah, we
house.
should though, try to take, so this is Pfizer property now?
No, minor.
Oh, minor.
Yeah, minor. So I'm gonna give you this little
You
packet
loaded
to
the
show
wood
you.
stove, you're standing on
Mine,
my.
et cetera.
Really,
That woodshed,
You're gonna
wood stove.
probably
the-
need to write to minor and ask them
That's
for
the property line.
the extra footage that we're gonna need.
Wow.
It doesn't involve,
Originally?
it really has nothing to do with where the salt storage shed's gonna be, but,
It was identified anyway as part of the survey,
right,
which is,
Yeah.
it shouldn't hold up the salt storage secret review, the environmental review, but we should, it's titled, it would be nice to straighten out for the
Oh
town.
my God, I guess so.
we just found it out when they completed the survey, so.
Did they give that land to the town where the
Yeah.
highway is?
Didn't they donate?
They did?
Yeah.
I think there's
Apparently
like
they didn't donate
I
it.
think it's a 99-year lease or
I
something
hope
for
we
a
didn't pay a lot
dollar.
for whoever did the survey.
I think it's a 100-year lease or something.
Oh my.
They must have surveyed it.
Society.
Well, what happened was when the garage burned,
For 100 years.
Who did the survey?
and we built a new garage, well,
They just kind of backed it up maybe
I
over a
think they
little
built
bit?
it on their property just by a few feet.
No,
No, it's right on the line now, Tim said it's
we
where,
we built right to the same,
Well,
Same Smith
we
Pass.
changed the grade,
well,
is it the same cement pad?
because water was running in the one that burned. So we changed the grade on it, and we used the same,
I'll give you this, and we can review it and
Wow.
see what we need to do.
Well, I would, I'll have to write the numbers.
we did make the garage bigger
Well, longer.
or longer.
Is that what
Don't
they
quite
made it
re-
longer?
Made it longer, right?
It's not any wider than the original.
The original one had water running in it. We changed the grade on it to eliminate that. That wasn't the size of the lot.
There you go.
There was
Just a
no.
minor
Yeah, it's just a minor problem.
minor problem.
Yeah. Well put, Scott.
Every now and then I can.
The new tandem truck, where do we stand with that, Tim? When's that gonna be delivered
It
and?
should be the end of June. This month, the end of this month. I'm waiting for them to give me a call, they're setting it up right now. They're supposed to call me when they're ready for the controls, and I have Warren Russell's gonna be the one driving it. So I'm gonna bring Warren over and they'll make it where everything's just where he wants it. So I'm waiting for a call from them.
How did you decide that? Did you flip a coin?
No, Warren's pretty meticulous with
Uh-huh.
everything,
Right,
and the truck in 20 years, I looked at like.
right, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure, yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
Real good, so.
Yeah, it takes good care of things, yeah.
He drives the oldest truck and it looks
Right.
like a new truck, so.
Wow.
Now, and you're keeping that old truck in
That's it.
service, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's in his mid-20s.
Yeah, okay, well then you got 20 years.
He's a good, yeah.
I saw a whole bunch of those when we went to Cornell. Those
And
trucks.
the final thing that I had is, I see where the school put up a digital electronic sign, which looks nice. During special occasions, I was wondering if the school would allow the town to use that, like for elections or hydrant flushing or some public announcements for the town. If we could check with the school and see if they would allow us to use their signage for,
If they're not.
if they're not using it. But I just thought maybe that would be a good idea, because that's something that we as a board had discussed purchasing, and if they could let us use it for special things, I think that would be appreciated.
I'll check.
That's all I have.
Are you sure?
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's my anniversary, I gotta get out of here early.
Oh, he's got a reason.
Oh, get ready, Amanda.
Do you have anything for us?
Pretty much, we've been mowing the roadsides, that should be done by the end of this week, the first time around. We went down on the point in Eagle Acres, picked up everything that everybody put out on the side of the roads for us there. Figure we're gonna make probably 2-3 rounds by the time we're done. And we're still, it's so wet.
Can you just let us know, just so that if anybody's watching, what you will pick up and what you won't pick up?
Pretty much anything that floated up other than not carpet or sheet rock and all that stuff. I mean, we had one guy try that, but he took it all back away. So we can't bring that. But they've been pretty good.
So you're picking up just wood?
You know, all the wood that washed up on shoulder and stuff.
But we also can't, I mean, I've heard of instances where property owners wanted actually highway crew to rake their lawns for them. That's not our job.
No, they bring it to the edge of the road and we pick it up for them.
Now, are you picking it up along the Lake Shore Road too, the county road, or just the town road?
This town road,
Okay.
the Point in Eagle Acres is the only one.
Now, does the Eagle Acres Road need to be repaired? Is there any washouts down there?
No washouts
point?
at all. It held up real good. Both
We
of them
lucked
did.
out.
Wow.
Yeah, we got
We
real
lucked
lucky.
out.
A lot of debris, but that's about it.
Didn't loosen those poles up down there,
No,
so we could get those moved.
no.
We did receive an email to the Woodmen of the World, want to donate a new flagpole for the, in front of our building.
Yeah.
So we gave them some measurements today, and I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna give us, but they're willing to give us
Wonderful.
a
It'd
new
be
flagpole.
similar to the,
I think it might be, yeah, probably a nicer, hopefully a nice big silver one or something.
because that's what I talked to him a long time ago, and told him to get in touch with you.
So they're working on it.
I'm still checking on them radios too,
Okay,
because we gotta replace a bunch of radios in all our vehicles. We're going to a narrow band, they call it. It's gonna be expensive. The last bid I got was like $6,200 to replace them. But it's nothing, we don't, you have to do it. It isn't nothing we have a choice on.
So it's mandatory?
I think it's 2013, they said the radios we have now just won't work.
Yeah.
We only have 4 of them that they can reprogram, all the rest gotta be replaced.
Well, it's good that you're acting on it now to give us plenty of time to do it.
For the budget, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we're getting ready to move the salt and sand pile, get ready for the salt shed. We moved black dirt pile up back, we're getting everything ready to move that. That's about it right now.
Is that on minor property too?
No, no.
The salt storage building will be, but.
We just put buildings there, not the
We can go over to the state.
do you have anything else?
Unless somebody has a question about the sewer code amendment, no, just that we're amending it to make it consistent with the water code, that once a developer or an individual extends the sewer lines or to their property, if they make a written request and it meets our code and specifications, we'll accept it, but they have to warranty it for 1 year after it's been dedicated.
Should we check on what Staub brought up about a tenant wanting the water shut off?
Yeah, I'm going to check on
Where-
that. I didn't think it's something we should do, but I will check on that. As far as the
So,
town's liability, it's difficult. I mean, I would think if in a larger municipality and you didn't know what the condition of the property was or that was occupied, if somebody requested, I would assume you could shut it off and then the liability's gonna be with the landowner, but in this case, we know, so I wanna check on it. At this point, I would say no. That we shouldn't shut it off.
Yeah. Because I'm sure the other towns are in the same boat, right?
Sure.
See, our water code law is very vague. I'll read to you what it says, but it's just not specific enough. And it says, where water has been turned off by direction of the district or at the request of the customer, it shall not be again turned on without the permission of the district. No person other than a superintendent or an employee of the district shall turn any water service on. Prior to reactivation, a fee may be established and modified from time to time by resolution of the town board, shall be paid to the district, but it doesn't state, like,
Well,
you know, if a property owner comes in and says, I want the water turned off because somebody hasn't paid the rent,
Right.
well, are we legally able to do that?
Well, it's a
There's-
residence, we notice it's occupied, so that's what I need to check.
Okay. So get back
If
to
she
us.
hadn't given you so much information, you probably could have done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you know,
Yeah,
other
really.
municipality, somebody
I
doesn't.
mean, I can kinda understand her point, they could be now letting the faucet run nonstop. You know, if they're behind on the rent, they know they're getting thrown out.
Give them more ideas, Jerry.
Well,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
just saying, I can understand the landlord's point of view.
No, but it's there.
Cut that out, okay?
If you're watching.
Yeah.
Jerry, real good guy.
All right, we'll move
I
on
have
to
minutes, I
move
know.
on to resolutions.
Jerry's tendency to cause.
Yeah. Oh, I'll run out of water.
We gotta hurry up and get Chris home.
Yeah.
That's right, hurry up.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, the first resolution is, to vote on the local law number 1 of the year 2011, a local law amending local law number 3 of the year 2001, Town of Chazy Sewer Code.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, Counselor Dino second. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devons,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
The next one is a resolution authorizing town maintenance man David Luke to attend grade C water operator course.
I'll make the motion.
I just have one question on this. Who's gonna be filling in for him to do his normal task while he's gonna be going to, the schooling? Do we
It's
have
only
some,
it's only like, it's from July 20th through the 22nd, so it's only a couple days.
but do we have anybody for spare,
I'm sure,
or what happens if one of the pumps goes down while he's in school? I mean, I understand we agreed that we're gonna send him to this, I'm not disagreeing with that, but
well, he should be home at night too, because this is at Clinton Community College, so I would
would
imagine.
Tom fill in a situation like this where we
He
could
would,
ask?
but I think he's getting operated on the 15th, so he's gonna be out,
Francis Smith would probably
yeah.
do it, and one of our guys would have to go with him and help him.
Or actually Dave Siskevich, I mean, that's his, you know, if the power goes down, he's gonna have to,
Okay, but we do have a backup plan, so, or even when Dave goes out on vacation,
yeah, I mean, we can live without him for a couple days. When he goes out on vacation, usually we'll pitch in and do regular maintenance, dump garbage, stuff like that. We usually make sure there's nothing really pressing. If a pump goes down, we tell Dave Siskevich that he's gotta be ready because he's gone, so he's aware. And he'll come down.
okay, that's the only questions I had.
Second.
Okay, on the resolution authorizing maintenance man David Luke to attend grade C water operator course, motion was made by Counselor Trombley, second by Counselor Devons. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes?
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devons,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is a standard workday reporting resolution for the new zoning officer.
So he'll work 6 days a week, is that what this is
No,
saying?
that's,
No,
this is required by the
Standard.
comptroller's office to,
the
I'll make the
standard
motion.
workday would be. if
6
he was-
hours.
6 hours, right. But with the hours that he puts in, he gets credited 7 days a month. That's what the 7 is for, on the end.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion.
Days,
For the
month.
retirement system, you mean?
Because he's not here full-time.
I know, you don't get credit on that.
Chris, you made the motion?
I
You're not
did.
getting credit on
On what?
They have to be sending days in.
Yeah, you gotta,
Okay.
I haven't gotten that.
it. I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talk to him after.
Okay. Who made the motion?
Counselor
Yes.
Lattimore made the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Counselor Devons seconded. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes?
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devons,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
yes.
Okay, next one, Town of Chazy, Sam's Club membership authorized people.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Counselor Devon's made the motion, second by Counselor Lattimore. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes?
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon.
Yes,
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
they always come back and give you the receipts and everything
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yep, we actually hold the cards in a safe.
Yeah.
They come get the cards, and they come back and give us receipts to
And
the
they
card
do.
back.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, and another resolution saying similar, Town of Chazy Curtis lumber account authorized people.
No, make the motion.
Counselor Trombley made the motion, second.
I'll second it.
Counselor Lattimore. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes?
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
And the next one, complete heating service agreement for Chazy Town Hall with heating and air conditioning. Change that first whereas to just say, 3 estimates were received.
I'll make the motion.
Who made the motion?
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Counselor Eno. Roll call, or any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes?
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is budget transfers.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Counselor Devons. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes?
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
And the last one, payment of claims.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion. Second by Counselor Devons. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes?
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion to adjourn, seconded by Counselor Dino.
You got that.
job as far as.
Oh, yeah,
the money,
oh, I'm
so
not arguing
I
against it,
don't,
I just wanna make sure that
I
it's.
think he would spend it wisely, so I don't have a problem increasing it.
I don't either, I mean, it's, if you think you need more, I mean, if it's something that you think you'd be more comfortable with,
Well, to be honest with you,
I mean, I know
I
you're
told
gonna
you-
watch our dollars anyway, so.
I told you before that, you know, I'm not even sure what this covers. Because of my operation and stuff, I hadn't had a chance to get a hold of the Association of Town. But seeing as how this is the only time I can change it right now, for this coming year, I wanted to take the opportunity right now. So it means, as far as I'm concerned, the way I read this is still all coming out of the budgeted account, so it has nothing to do with I'm taking money from any other account other than what was already budgeted for.
Yeah, because we have to advertise for the other.
Right. It just saves me from coming in and saying, hey, look, guys,
Well,
we
wasn't there
need
an
something, I gotta
instance,
wait a month.
wasn't there an instance where you lost a trailer
Yes,
because you couldn't,
yes.
Right.
you couldn't get it?
Yes.
Because it had to come before us, right,
Mhm.
for the new loader?
It'll probably never be used, but in case it is needed, it's there.
I'll still make a motion.
You all
to
want it
change
for the 5,000?
5,000.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Chris, second.
Mm-hmm. Chris, and Kathy made the motion.
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Lattimore, that superintendent purchases not to exceed 5,000 at any one time. Any further discussion? Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes.
Rules and procedures, regular meeting of town board, 2010. These are all the second Monday of each month, with the exception of October is the second Tuesday, because the Monday is Columbus Day, and November 4th is the Thursday following election night.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
You send it, Chris?
I did.
Chris?
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Lattimore. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes.
Donation amounts, $50 per occasion for the town hall, with a $25 deposit to be returned upon inspection that place has been cleaned up.
I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
Counselor Dino made the motion, seconded by Counselor Lattimore. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Mileage paid for official travel, 55 cents per mile.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Counselor Dino. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is the setting town official salary schedule for 2009.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, Counselor Dino second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel. Next is resolution authorizing continuation of the town Chazy investment policy.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Go ahead, Doug.
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Trombley. Any further discussion?
What is that, just for the CDs? Is that basically all it is?
CDs in our, well, the next one is our procurement policy.
Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devon?
Yes.
Counselor Trombley?
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker?
Yes.
Next is a resolution authorizing continuation of the Chazy procurement policy of 1993.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
What is that policy actually?
States how much we can, like, for example, whenever we go out for an item, equipment item, and it's over $3,000, we have to get at least 2 fax bids, or 2 or 3 fax bids, and if it's over $15,000, you have to go out for an actual bid in the paper for certain items.
Or state
It
contract.
puts the limits on what, dollar amounts we can spend and how we do it.
Okay, roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Well, first I gotta tell you that Counselor Trombley made the motion and Counselor Devon seconded. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devon. Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker. Next is appointment of Deputy Highway Superintendent. Are you still with
Yes.
Timothy Lamica?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Counselor Devons. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker.
Yes. Just like to say real quickly on the discussion that Timmy did a great job while you were out there.
Okay, authorization for a town official to attend the annual Associated Town meeting in New York City. That would be Tom Dajma.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Who made it first?
Chris.
Or two. Counselor Lattimore made the motion, second by Counselor Devons. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore.
Yes.
Counselor Dino.
Yes.
Counselor Devons.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker.
Yes.
Authorization to sign TD bank checks. There'll be Supervisor Bob Spiegel, Deputy Supervisor Jerry Dino, and then Town Secretary Susan Patnode, and Town Clerk Tax Collector Leo Wolf.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Councilor Trombley. Any further discussion? Roll call, Councilor Lattimore.
Yes.
Councilor Dino.
Yes.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker. Okay, next is bingo inspector appointment of Wayne Dino.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilor Lattimore made the motion, seconded by Councilor Trombley. Any further discussion? Roll call, Councilor Lattimore.
Yes.
Councilor Dino.
Yes.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Speaker.
Yes.
Deputy Town Clerk, Tax Collector, Register RMO, Beverly Christensen.
I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
Councilor Dino made the motion, seconded by Councilor Lattimore. Any further discussion? Roll call, Councilor Lattimore.
Yes.
Councilor Dino.
Yes.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Next one is the second Deputy Town Clerk, Sub-Registrar of Vital Statistics of Susan Patman.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilor Trombley made the motion, seconded by Councilor Devons. Any further discussion? Roll call, Councilor Lattimore.
Yes.
Councilor Dino.
Yes.
Councilor Devons.
Yes.
Councilor Trombley.
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
And we have a resolution authorizing Susan Patno to take a notary course.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Councilor Dino made the motion, seconded by Councilor Devons. Any further discussion? Roll call, Councilor Lattimore.
Yes.
Dino.
Yes.
Devons.
Yes.
Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing increase of Tom Roberts' part-time maintenance man hourly rate.
I'll make a motion.
What had we budgeted for this?
We did increase it. Up to that, it's just that we had never done a resolution.
Oh, it was increased, so
Yep.
this is,
His rate was, this would be raised from 14 to 15 per hour.
Yeah, we had budgeted that, we just didn't do a resolution making that official, so that's why we wanted to do it,
okay, so it's
in case there was any questions.
You get a motion? Yeah.
And Kathy doesn't make the
Oh, sorry.
second from Counselor Devens made the resolution, made the motion, second by Counselor Trombley. Any further discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we can skip the next one. We didn't, the judges didn't submit anything, did they? Have to look
They
at
do
the
that
next
different.
one. Okay, we'll skip the next one then till next one.
We'll just skip the next one.
And the next one, in place of it, we're gonna put the one that our attorney gave us earlier on the seeker resolution.
Just declaring the town board to be the lead agency for conducting that secret review, or environmental review of the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance.
That's it. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Counselor Dino made the motion, seconded by Counselor Devens. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens.
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is on payment of claims for 2009. We have one extra.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Two seconds, Jay.
Here.
Counselor Devens made the motion, second by Counselor Dino. Any discussion? Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Dino,
Yes.
Devens.
Yes.
Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes.
And next one is the payment of claims for 2010.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Lattimore motion, second by Counselor Devens. Roll call, Counselor Lattimore,
Yes.
Counselor Dino,
Yes.
Counselor Devens,
Yes.
Counselor Trombley,
Yes.
Supervisor Spiegel.
Yes. That's it. Thank you very much.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
And I just want to remind the board that on November 16th at 7 o'clock, the planning board meeting is going to be here. And we'd like to have everybody show up to review the GIS program that we bought and purchased. And actually, Mr. Bosley's in the back working as we speak. And he wants to do a little presentation to the town board just to show them what he's done so far and what he's planning on doing.
These colored maps are pretty helpful. We're gonna change the coloring a little bit because the dark blues and the greens are a little distracting, and the yellows don't come, but the light greenish blue on that really shows, this is what the zoning map currently looks like. and what you've got is some AFs around here. But you can see how large that ag forest district is from this map and where the districts actually are.
Can you work into the color code scheme on that map? Like the farmland, forever farming?
What we can do, we've got the capability, we've got ag districts, we've got wetlands, we've got anything that's been mapped. We've got different layers. It gets a little confusing when you start
Yeah, but
putting away layers.
you got ag district, but what I'm referring to is when